Determine the stationary point of the function z equals to x squared minus 2y squared plus 4xy plus 8x plus 2y, and determine their nature. So what you should know there, we have been given function of x and y. When you are given function of x and y and they ask you to determine the stationary point, what you just apply here is partial derivative. So you just find the partial derivative of x. So it will be 2x. This one, because it doesn't have x, this is just a constant. Because there's no x in this term, just a constant, and it becomes 0. But when you differentiate this one in terms of x, it will be plus 4y plus 8 plus 8. This, when you differentiate 8x, is 8. This one is a constant and it becomes 0. Then find the derivative of y. Partial derivative of y. This is a constant and it remains 0. And when you differentiate this one, just give you minus 4y. When you differentiate this one, x here is a constant, but when you differentiate y, it will be 1. So plus 4x. So 1 into y, it will be 1. Then times 4x, it will be 4x. Then we differentiate 8x, just a constant, and it becomes 0 because you are partial differentiating in terms of y. And finally, we differentiate 2y, which is 2. So remember that at the stationary points, or at maximum or minimum, stationary point can either be minimum, maximum, or a saddle, or it can also be a point of inflection. So for you to determine whether it's a stationary point, you have to determine the stationary points themselves as they asked for. They asked for the stationary points. What should we apply? We say that at maximum, or stationary points, then the slope equals to 0. So dz, dx should be 0, and dz, the y should also be 0. So just equate these functions to 0, then you just determine your values of x and y, and the values of x and y, they'll give you the value of the stationary points. Then let's just do it. So substitute this one with 0, it will be 2x plus 4y plus 8. Also substitute this one with 0, which it will be minus 4y plus 4x plus 2. So taking these terms to the other side and writing this function in this form, so it will be 2x plus 4y equals to minus 8. Also this one, starting with x, it will be 4x minus 4y equals to, take 2 to the other side, it will be minus 2. So we can see here this term is 4 and this term is 4. So we can use elimination in the simplest method to determine the values of unknowns. So we just let we eliminate this term. So eliminating either term, you just take the coefficients of the other term, you multiply it up there. This term, you just multiply it here. We consider this term, we want to eliminate it. So 4, then multiply by 4 the upper, and the lower one multiply by 2. It will be just 8x plus 16y equals to what? Minus 8, and that is minus 32. Then 2 times is just 8x minus 8y. This equals to minus 4. So we just minus that function, this function and this function. So each term just minus with its corresponding term. So minus 32 minus 4, it will be minus 32 plus 4, which is just minus 28. Then 16 minus 8, this minus 8. It will be just 16 plus 8. 16 plus 8, this is just, so you just add 8 there, which is 24. So it will be 24y. Therefore, our value of y, it will be just divide by both sides by 24 by 24. So our y, it will be, we take our calculator, switch it on, then key in minus 28 divided by 24. So let's leave it in fraction form. So it's minus 7 over 6. So this one is one of our points. So getting either or other, any other, getting any other value, we just come and substitute the values there. So let's substitute y here. Let's substitute y here. So it will be just minus 8x minus 8 into y, which is minus 7 over 6. Then equals to what? Minus 4. So getting x, we just solve this one in our calculator. Just take minus 8, we multiply by minus 7 over 6. Just minus 7 over 6. So the result is positive 9, 1 over 13. So take this positive to the other side, it will be negative. So it will be minus 4 minus our answer. It will be minus 4 minus our answer. So minus 4, then minus answer. When you take it to the other side, it will be minus. It will be minus 4. So when you take minus this minus answer, minus 4, no, we instructed the calc wrongly. So let's delete the first answer. We said answer there. So just delete this one. We should say minus 4. Let's repeat this again. It is minus 7 over 6 multiplied by minus 8. So it's equals to 9, 1 over 13. So we take negative 4 minus answer. So negative 4 minus. So this calc is minus 4 minus answer. So minus 4 minus answer, it is just minus 13, 1 over 3. Then divide by minus 8. Answer, just divide by this one. So divide by minus 8. So it will be 1 over. So let's give it in. So equals to 5 over. So our x to be 5 over 3. So our stationary point is just given by 5 over 3, then minus 7 over 6. So that is our stationary point. Our next question is to determine the nature of that stationary point. let we come back here. Do we know now what was the need for we to differentiate the two equations, the two equations in this form? Because we need the differences between del squared of z, del x, del y, minus the second derivative of this one multiplied by the second derivative of this one. So the first derivative of this one, we have it, and we have it here, and the second derivative of this one also we have it here. But we need also to differentiate this function more, but with respect to y. When you differentiate this function in respect to y, it will be just del squared z del x del y, which equals to 4. Now, let's come to our formula. We take this function squared minus this times this one. Now, and we have this function and this function we have already evaluated here. We just come and substitute what we have. The result for this is 4 squared minus 2 times negative 4. When you put it in your calculator, the result is just 24. Now, we come here. The nature, for we to know the natures, we just take the differences of that, and we come here. When the difference is equals to 0, then we have to say that function being saddle point, or saddle is a saddle point. Now, when d is greater than 0, that is a minimum point. And when d is less than 0, that becomes a maximum point. Now let's state the nature of this point. Now the point will be determined by this result. We can see our result is greater than 0. Therefore, this function is said to be, the nature of this function is, minimum point. The nature is a minimum point. The stationary point now is a minimum point, as shown. So I kindly subscribe, like, and share my videos.